Let's try again. My mic was muted. Sorry about that. Welcome, everybody. Thanks, Brianna. I see no sound. I looked up and I saw my mic was muted. Welcome, everyone, to episode number 3 of the Chronic Wellness Podcast. Today's live stream is about mindset and spiritual growth. We're going to talk about cultivating a positive, growth-oriented mindset and overcoming fear to embrace transformation. This is really important kind of work that all human beings need to do. I go deep into these things in my one-on-one teachings with others and in groups and personal sessions. It's very important to develop a strong mindset, because your mindset's A1. How your mind works and how you choose to perceive reality has everything to do with how it works out for you. This doesn't mean that there won't be challenges. Even with a really powerfully developed mindset, there's still going to be challenges. So never think I'm saying that. Never think I'm saying that if you do all these practices and you do all these things, that life won't throw curveballs at you. I guarantee it will. It might even throw bigger ones at you. But the thing is it's through those trials, it's through those challenges that we grow as we come out on the other end. What I always tell my clients and I tell my students is never ask God or the Creator, never ask for it to be easy, ask for the strength to make it through anything. So I want to welcome everybody. If you're just checking in, let us know where you're watching from. It's always neat to see the people that where you're from and what's going on. That creates a beautiful web of energy and intelligence in which we can work with. Again, today's about mindset and spiritual growth, and I'm Don Antonio, and I'm going to be your guide on this journey of self-discovery, healing, and transformation. Today, we're going to be diving into how to cultivate a positive, growth-oriented mindset and how to overcome fear so we can fully embrace the transformative power of life. Okay, I'm glad that you're here, whether you're live or you watch us on replay. I want you to know that this message is for you, and feel free to share it everywhere. Share this. This information is stuff that people pay thousands of dollars for when they go on retreats, and I'm offering it to the world for free right here. But I do ask, if you can, make a donation. If you can make a donation, even if it's a couple dollars, what that does is that maintains something called INI, or divine reciprocity. Giving and receiving. The more you give, the more you receive. And as you give, that opens you to receive. And as you receive, that opens you to give. If that makes sense to you. So the purpose of the live stream is we're going to explore actionable techniques for shifting your mindset. We're going to uncover the spiritual principles behind growth and transformation and discuss how to turn fear into a catalyst for profound personal evolution. All right, and then we're going to move now into the next segment. If anybody has any questions or comments, feel free at any time to bring those up. I will make some stops along the journey so I can stop and interact with your questions. It's always important. I love to hear from you. I want to welcome those of you that are here. I want to welcome Brianna and Mary and Mark. 1 million Buddhas! My brother Mark, good to see you. So right now we're going to move into what is this? What is a growth-oriented mindset? And that is the belief that you can develop your abilities and improve yourself through effort, learning, and resilience. It's about seeing challenges as opportunities and not obstacles. And that's important all in itself. If you can, that's the first step for developing a strong mindset, is seeing your challenges, seeing the things that life throws at you. And there'll be plenty. I myself have been through many things, and I'm sure I'll be through many more. But what I do understand is that's part of a bigger design. There's different ways to look at it. Like for religious people, it's trusting in God's design, God's plan, understanding that, the universe doesn't think the way you think, it reacts to your energy. But developing this sort of mindset is crucial for spiritual growth because it allows us to approach life with curiosity, openness, and trust in the process of unfolding. So it's the trust. You're trusting it. We resist it most of the time. Like something happens. So in my case, I needed to have a surgical intervention for my dissected aorta. Most people I talk to, they say, "Oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you." And I accept the energy, and then I kind of say back to them, like, "Well, it's not really a bad thing." And they kind of look at me like, "What?" Like, yeah, for me, it's not a bad thing. I see everything that happens as a blessing. I'm alive, so I'm here and alive, and it's a process and something I get to go through, and it helps me to understand life. And so this has occurred through developing this sort of mindset, an acceptance mindset, understanding that everything's unfolding for you kind of mindset. So this takes us into spiritual connection. From a spiritual perspective, growth is a core aspect of our journey here on earth. When we embrace a growth mindset, we align with the universal intelligence. Another way to say is God. Okay, I use the word God interchangeably with universal intelligence or the living energy that is all, or Wirikocha is the name in our tradition. It doesn't really matter what you call it. And that's what we got to really pay attention to here in the world that's evolving now, is everybody has a different idea or definition inside themselves of what the higher power is or what the universal intelligence is. And we have to be an allowance for each other to express those things. It's a little bit different for everybody, but we're all talking about the same thing, the living intelligence that is all things. And it's always expanding and always evolving. Welcome, Nathaniel. Hi, Tom Shuck. Good to see you, brother. So we'll move into practical tips. So how do we begin? How do we begin? That's the first question people say. I have no idea where to begin. How do I begin to cultivate a better growth or success or happy mindset? Like even just happiness. People are often outside themselves looking for happiness when it truly lives within you. And so the first place I have everybody start, and this is super easy, but for most people really hard to adapt with and to become disciplined, because it's something you need to do daily, even on days you don't feel well. Like most people are like, I don't feel good today, so I'm not going to do my practice. And the practice is quite simple. You don't have to be a spiritual guru or a shaman or a seer or sage or a yogi. You don't need to be anything except yourself. Just being yourself and allowing yourself to start by practicing gratitude every day. There's times I'm stuck in my day. There's times things pop up. I'm challenged by something that's going on. And as soon as I remember, hey, did I practice gratitude today? Nope. That's the first thing I usually lean into. I start to become aware of my breathing. That's the first step, is breathing. Slow myself down, and then I begin to practice gratitude. Okay, and we'll talk about the gratitude practice. The gratitude practice is important because what it helps you to do is also to acknowledge your wins, no matter how small they are. You can take time to find gratitude for the little things that happened in your day. If someone said something to you that made you smile, or you got to help someone else, or whatever it is, whatever you find gratitude for, and there's something in every day that happens if you pay attention. If you're not allowing yourself to pay attention to anything that's, good in your life, that's the first step, is looking. You can find gratitude just for being alive. It exists and it's there. This also rewires your brain to focus on progress rather than perceived failures. So when you start to practice every day using your mind to focus on gratitude, because that's not, let's just be honest with ourselves, how often are you practicing gratitude? How often are you taking your mind and steering it into, what am I grateful for? So that's the first thing, is being really honest with yourself. Not being rude or mean to yourself or beating yourself up for what you're not doing, because it doesn't matter what you haven't done. It only matters that you pay attention now and start to move forward in a new way. Let go of what was. That's a big piece of being able to step into gratitude. And then focusing on, that gratitude helps you to let go of the actual kind of negative thinking. The things that you're looking at, these perceived failures and things that could go wrong. And when it comes into this kind of thing, it's also important to set intention. Intention setting, I think, is often confused. It's really quite easy. It's just, what do you want to happen? I want to become loving in this beautiful world. I want to, whatever it is, whatever calls to you, that beautiful intention. You don't need just goals. Goals are cool, but intention is A1. Intentions allow you to align your actions with your higher purpose. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll talk a little bit more about, gratitude practice. It's something that I love to teach. It's really quite simple to start off with. The first thing is acknowledging your wins for the day. What happened good in this day? you know and then finding the things that you're most grateful for in your life. Maybe it's your spouse or your children or your pets or something, whatever it is. These are the concepts and ideas. You want to allow yourself to connect those concept ideas, but the deeper part of it is allowing yourself in that time, like kind of a meditative state, dropping in and actually feeling, what does gratitude feel like in your body? That's really important. Not just saying, I'm grateful for this and I'm grateful for that. It's actually taking the time after saying those things. One of my great, how does that gratitude live inside of me? Feeling that. Like I'm saying in my mind right now, I'm grateful to do this podcast. And when I think about how that feels inside of me, it feels warm and it feels happy because I know I'm here with people who are trying to grow and are trying to expand, and my family. That's how it feels. Like I'm here with my soul family, and it's a beautiful thing, and I'm here in my loving will to share this information to help people become better versions of themselves, because I know that's what's important. It doesn't really matter what I say here. It's the seeds that are planted. It's about your experience. You have to experience these things. And the biggest thing is taking time every day, not just to practice the gratitude, but to experience the gratitude. How does it live in your body? How does it show up? How does it feel? Maybe you don't need to put words to it. And when I'm asking you these questions, I'm not really asking you to name it. You don't have to name how it feels. I'm just asking you to bring your attention into how it feels, because wherever your attention goes, your energy flows. And when you bring your attention inward to your gratitude, that energy starts to overflow you. And this kind of moves into some other teachings we'll talk about later, is about the principles and the laws of attraction, which is all energy. Everything's energy and frequency. There's a equal and opposite reaction to everything that happens here. And essentially what you put out, you get back. Again, this doesn't mean you won't have challenges. Don't think that life shouldn't have challenges. You'll hear me say that a lot, because there's lots of people that think that. They think that if they get on this spiritual journey and, start working on themselves and everything, like there'll be no more troubles. I guarantee there will be troubles. What I also can guarantee is the more work you do, the easier you can navigate through the troubles, and they become not troubles anymore, but blessings. All right, before I move into the next segment, I'm just going to check in if anybody has any questions over what we covered so far, particularly the gratitude practice. Do you get it? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Feel free to ask any questions. Drat, my headphones just burnt out. I'm at the gym right now. Catch y'all later in the infinity replay universe. Sorry, Mark. You weren't meant to hear this right now. Hi, Neil. What's up, bro? Looking good, man. Good, man. I'm feeling good, man. Maybe I'll catch you at the gym soon. I was there yesterday, a little bit earlier, seeing some people I haven't seen in a while. They were asking me where I've been, and I was like, well, I died, and I've been reborn. So I got to talking to them about the amazing journey in which I've been on, which is just something else. And I'm still going through it. It's not over with yet. It's not all like behind me or anything yet, but I'm definitely making a lot of progress. Anytime, Neil, let me know. Reach out to me. I don't know what time you go to the gym usually. I know you kind of go at different times, but, my schedule's pretty open because I'm still in recovery mode. All right, if nobody has any questions, I'm going to move along to the next segment. And the next segment is talking about overcoming fear. Fear. There's some acronyms. One of my favorites is false evidence appearing real, right? So fear. What drives fear? Thoughts, mostly. Thinking. It's not that fear is a bad thing. It's a normal thing. It's actually a signal to tell you to make some sort of change. Now, there's realistic things to have fear responses for, like, say, there's something falling and you need to catch it or get out of the way. If you didn't have a fear response, you'd get squashed. So it's part of our natural kind of self-preservation circuit. So it has a lot to do with that. So it's not that it's bad. It's just a natural part of the human experience, and it's not something you want to suppress or judge. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't need pushed down. It's okay. It's a teacher. It's here to show us where we need to grow also, because along with fear, people need to understand that fear isn't always just cowering and, I'm afraid, like Michael Myers is after me. Pretty much every negative emotion is rooted in fear. When you're mad, when you're really angry, most of the time it's because there's fear behind that. I'm angry, like someone cut you off in traffic. This used to be a big one for me. I'd get really angry. Why? Because I felt like they took something from me, or somehow maybe they were endangering me or others. And I'd get angry. But the thing is that anger doesn't help anything. It actually works against us. Often fear arises when we're about to step into something new, okay? So fear of the unknown, that's a big one. I don't know what's going to happen next. And that actually stops us from following on our life's journey, because it's like we've been trained. Me and Mary always say that this human reality is a mind F. It's a real mind job, working on you all the time. But it stops us from being able to step into something new, being okay with whatever shows up. This is something I've been teaching myself for about 5 years. And what I can tell you is that somehow it keeps taking me where I need to go. I've been safe and I'm alive, and everything kind of works itself out when I just kind of get out of the way and I allow the reality to take me on the journey it wants to take me on. Fear gets in our way quite often. It's a signal of transformation knocking at the door. That's a lot of the times what fear is. And what we can do is we can do a little bit different. Fear is actually excitement being filtered through the ego mind. So it's fear of the unknown, and then what happens is, or that excitement of what's can happen, what's the outcome. It starts to try to control, well, what if this happens or that happens? This is never going to work. And all kinds of things start to happen. And it's because it's passing through our past experiences. So that's a common thing. And for most people, this requires forms of deep healing and emotional healing to begin to understand why you choose what you choose. What are you looking at? What is that dirty windshield of your past that you're observing your current reality through? What I like to do is reframe fear. That's one of my favorite things to do, and that's something we were just kind of doing there. What if it's excitement? Can you reframe your fear into excitement? I mean, they're really close. They're really close in vibrational frequency of how they feel, except for one is higher vibrational frequency and one is lower. You'll feel lower, like fear, you feel lower in your gut. Whereas excitement, you feel almost through your entire body. Like just sitting here talking about it, I can sense the big differences, but also the similarities. So rather than seeing fear as an enemy, consider it a doorway. You don't have to call it your friend. Some people are like, well, I just can't call it my friend. What if it's just a doorway? What if it's an opportunity, a portal? What is this fear teaching me? You can ask yourself questions. Self-query is one of the most important steps of developing a strong mindset. And like, what's on the other side of this discomfort? It's discomfort. You're uncomfortable. But if you're not uncomfortable, how can you change? So I can tell you like a personal story. Like I remember when I first stepped into my role as a shamanic healer, fear kind of was with me, and it whispered to me like, you're not ready. Like you can't do this, and do you know what you're doing? And all kinds of things. It was trying to get in my way in every direction, basically just telling me you're not ready. But I leaned in and I was trusting the guidance I was receiving would carry me, and it did. It really did. It really helped me. The guidance and opening myself up to just go with the flow of things and not worry about it really started to change things. And then from there, my abilities started to open. I started helping more and more people. It got to a point, and it is at a point now, where I don't really have to even put my hands on people to help them release pain, to help them release fear, and help them to release some of the energetic and spiritual maladies that may be upon them. And this only happens by releasing fear, because what I tell everyone is everyone has a gift. Everyone has beautiful gifts and beautiful intuitive senses and the ability to move energy. But what gets in our way quite often is fear. Fear creates resistance. So we're going to step into the next level here. If anybody has any questions about what's going on, good morning, Valerie. I'm glad you're here. It's actually afternoon. I'm sorry. It might be morning where you're at. You just said good morning. It's afternoon here. I'm in Northeast Ohio, Cleveland area. But I know we got some people from all over the place here with us today. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some techniques, because this is where we're at now. We're like, well, for me to move forward and get better at cultivating my mindset, I have to release my fear, my resistance. Fear is what causes resistance, if you're resistant to the change that's available in your world. And the first thing is getting control of your breathing. Your breath is the number one, numero uno tool for you to gain control of your neurology, to gain control of your brain. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a moment to do a simple breathwork practice, okay? And this simple breathwork practice will be enough for you to begin to center yourself, bring yourself into a calmer state, initiate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest, digest, feed, and breathe mode. This is your repair mode. This is when you're in repair mode. Otherwise, where we're spending most of our time is in sympathetic dominant states of nervous system. And that's kind of like our fight, flight, our doing, our protection. Protection mode is kind of what I call it. You're in protect mode, you're clenched, or you're in the unclenched mode, parasympathetic. So that's another way I call it, clenched, unclenched. We want to go from clenched to unclenched. And you only got to take some time. It's not like the clenched mode is something you have to be afraid of or something you want to do. But let's face it, the more soft you can be, the more unclenched you can be in your reality, the smoother the flow is for that to happen. So the first step before you do any breathing is you always want to take yourself and make sure that you're in a comfortable place. You don't want to do this so much always while you're driving or anything like that. I do, but the thing is we're always looking for safety. Some people, especially if you're new to breath work and you get enough cerebral spinal fluid going into the brain, you might lose consciousness for a second. And you don't want to have to happen if you're in a bathtub or you're in a car. But before I begin my breath work, I always start with blowing the nose. So I'm going to take my tissue here. I'm going to test my horn. And the horn works. Very good. And then we're going to move into the breathing. So this is the first technique I use. There's several that I'm going to share with you, is to release fear. So I like to inhale deeply through my nose for a count of 4, and then I hold for 4, and I exhale slowly through my mouth for a count of 6. And when I exhale through my mouth, it's a soft sigh. That sigh helps you to release some of your pent-up energy. Okay, so let's take a moment to begin. Let's release all of your air. And we're going to breathe in for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 6. In for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 6. In for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 6. In for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 6. In for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 6. Breathing in. Holding. Out. Breathing in. Holding. Out. Breathing in. Holding. Out. Take a break. So what I'll do is I'll add to this. I'll often add to this. And what I do is I use light to help me. So I may turn this into a spiritual practice. And what I may do is I'll open up my spiritual field. And then one of my favorite spirits to call to me is the spirit of the sun. It's beautiful golden light energy. And it you can bring it into you. Sorry. Breathing in light. So it's calling in the energy of the sun. And as you call in the energy of the sun, you imagine a beautiful bright light, a beautiful golden light from the sun. And what happens is you breathe in, light goes in, you're holding the light, saturating, and you release the tension and pressure, and the light stays with you. I bring the light in. I keep the light. And I release all the tension and pressure. With every breath, I get a little bit lighter. Breathing in light. Holding. And releasing anything heavy. So you're beginning to circulate energy in with light. Saturate you. Releasing anything heavy. It's just your intention. In with light. Holding. Saturating and letting go. So already I'm feeling really light, really soft. All right, softened and alive. It's beautiful. So that's the first step, okay? So just doing those few breaths, you may have noticed if you went along with that, your nervous system is calm and you're grounded, right? And as you repeat this a few times to calm the nervous system and ground yourself, it becomes stronger and stronger. It's something that is, the more you practice, the more it works for you. The second technique I'm going to share with you is visualization. Visualization is super important and also widely overlooked. Most people I know, unless they've had any sort of practice or are more of an artistic-minded person, they don't believe they have the ability to envision, to create vision. And that's okay. It starts just through practice, just through showing up. And one of my favorite visualizations is I like to close my eyes and visualize myself walking through a doorway. And on the other side, I see a version of myself who has already embraced this transformation, and I connect with their energy and wisdom. So it's visualizing yourself. So I visualize as I'll sit, I'll do my breath, and I'll sit and I'll visualize a doorway. I'll see this doorway. And as I open the door and I walk through the doorway, on the other side, I'm watching, kind of like Ebenezer Scrooge when the spirits of Christmas took him to go see himself in different aspects. I take myself into this different aspect, and I get to see this higher version of me. This version of me that's already accomplished what I want to accomplish. Whatever it is you want to do. Like, so say you're going to school and you want to go to school and you want to get your degree and you want to become whatever that is. To help yourself along and also bring the energy that you need to take time to envision yourself being there already. Because by doing that, you're matching the frequency, and being in that matching frequency, you're allowing the universe to bring to you that which is a match. If you're afraid all the time and afraid of failure and all these things, you're actually blocking yourself from what's actually capable. So visualization is a big, important thing. And what's really nice is to do your visualization post breath work, because the breath work opens up the mind. It sends blood, lymph, and cerebral spinal fluid up into the brain, up into the thalamus and hypothalamus, into the third eye. It begins to open up the deeper parts of your brain, and it actually helps you to stay calm and be able to sit there in your visualization. Now, the key is to spend some time there. And for most people, distraction sets in. And this is where meditation is really important, because your visualization can be your whole meditation. Just sitting there and keeping yourself aware of the visualization of who is it that you want to be. I'll often ask people this in healing sessions. I'll say, who do you want to be? Because they'll come to tell me, and they'll tell me about the problems they're having. And basically what they're saying is whoever I'm being right now isn't who I want to be. So I'll ask them, who do you want to be? And sometimes it takes a little time for them to really even open up to the question, or I'll ask someone, who's suffering with chronic illness. I'll say, what would it be like if you didn't have this illness anymore? And they go, well, I don't know. That seems hard to imagine. I'm like, well, it might be hard to imagine, but can you imagine it? That's the first step. Using visualization is another way is using your mind's eye, your disciplined imagination to envision. Because if you can envision it, it already exists. That's a quantum field level type of exercise you're using. It's very, very powerful. And it's important to reach into that visualization and connect with the energy and wisdom that's in there. The third practice I'm going to share with you today is affirmations. Now, affirmations are words, right? So you're repeating, a mantra or a saying or a set of words. There's different ways this can be said, but really what's happening is you're reprogramming your mind through an affirmation. You're saying this over and over, and so this becomes what you're saying in your head most of the time instead of whatever else you might be telling yourself. Right? One of my favorites is, and one of the most potent affirmations that a human can develop and use is, I am safe. The reason being because just the words I am are so powerful that whatever you put after that can become very much real for you. So think about the I am angry. You're saying I am anger. Right? That's what's happening. You don't realize it's happening, but the subconscious mind hears it. Go the other way. I am safe. Find time to sit there. First breathe, move into your visualization, then do some affirmations. I am safe. Another one of mine is, I am divinely guided. That's you opening up and knowing that you're being guided by your higher power or your spiritual guidance. Another one I like to say is, I am transforming into my best version or into the best version of myself. And another favorite one is, in every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. See how powerful those are? And there's hundreds and thousands. You can find any affirmation you want. Create your own. That's always what I say, because it's your own language. What would you say if you could step out of yourself and give you advice of affirmations? This is what you need to say to yourself to help yourself to grow. I am safe. Do you normally walk around thinking that you're unsafe? I think most people do. Like, oh, there's so much happening. Like most people are like, oh, the world, it's dangerous. When you just walk outside in your front yard, for most of us, unless you're in a war zone, and you see that you're safe already. You're already safe. So affirmations, very powerful. Another one of my favorite ones is acceptance. It's the affirmation of acceptance, I call it. And that affirmation goes, I accept each moment as if I've chosen it. I accept each moment as if I've chosen it. I accept each moment as if I've chosen it. Do you see? That's really powerful stuff. All right, so that goes over the techniques to release fear: breathwork, visualization, and affirmation. There's other techniques, but those are three that seem to work really well for most people. The floor is open. If you have any questions about that segment before we head into the next segment, which the next one will be embracing transformation. as we continue on this journey. I'm going to drop in and see if there's any comments. My friend Neil talking to me about catching a workout, which I'd love to. I can't lift very heavy yet, but I do go and exercise. I like to exercise every day because movement is medicine. I've been exercising about every day for about 6 years. I do some different things, but some days it's brisk walking. It's super cold up here, and I haven't really been out hiking too much due to the doctors saying that I shouldn't be out in the cold weather too much. But I miss that. I love the sun. I love to be outside. And I always recommend people to get outside if they can. And get out with as little clothes as you can, even if it's just for a couple minutes, so you can let that sun charge you up like a solar panel. It's really, really powerful. Does anybody have any questions about what we covered so far? I would love to hear about them. You can pop them in at any time. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move into segment 3. Segment 3 is embracing transformation. All right. The first one is the power of surrender. Transformation requires surrender, letting go of what we think we are to become and who we're meant to be. This isn't always easy, but it's deeply rewarding. So letting go of who we think we are to become and who we're meant to be. Like, you're letting go of what you think and instead going into what you feel. And the way that I like to teach this, and also another teacher that I know, his name's Daryl Anka, he likes to teach it as follow your highest excitement or follow your highest passion. Okay? So following your highest passion, following your highest excitement, right? And like we were talking about earlier, that's really hard to do until you start to learn how to overcome fear, because fear is often, misunderstood excitement. It's through that excitement. Like, some people are like, I'm about to lose all my money in my house. Couldn't that be the most exciting thing that's ever happened? Could it? Yeah, it could be. What if you just allow yourself to surrender to the moment? We often are fighting so hard to hold on to try to keep things the same that we're fighting the power of the universe that's trying to always evolve and change. So it's the power of surrender. This is what opens up that ability for transformation. And like I said, it's not always easy. But it begins there. That's why the first things we were talking about were techniques to release fear. When we resist change, we create tension and suffering. But when we trust the flow, we discover the beauty in life's unfolding. I think that's pretty self-explanatory what I wrote there. When we resist, whatever you resist persists, and that's going to create that tension, that resistance, that fear. But when you trust the flow, when you understand, so it's basically, imagine if you could put yourself in a mindset that whatever shows up, you understand that it's taking you directly where you need to go, and you don't resist it. This is happening, and I'm going to go with what's happening. I'm not going to worry, and I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to let it take me where it needs to go. Imagine you could do that. Imagine that your mind works in a way where your belief system is rooted in the universe is always taking me where I need to go. Then at that point, you no longer have to worry about what's going to happen. You see, it doesn't even matter what happens because it's always going to take you where it needs to take you. So this is part of that rewiring. That's part of, realigning your mind to be able to handle some things. But transformation requires surrender. You must surrender. Signs you are transforming, so once you start to move into transformation, once you begin to surrender and you allow the changes to begin to come into your life and you allow the transformation to begin to take root and unfold itself, you may feel uncomfortable or out of place in old patterns. So this is something I see with a lot of people. Especially on the journey of ascension, because your transformation is always going to lead you into higher consciousness. And this may become uncomfortable because some of your old patterns are things that don't support this new and transforming version of you. So maybe it's drinking, or maybe it's doing certain things, people go through things. Like, I remember in lifetime, different parts of my lifetime, like I used to sit around with people and we would kind of sit there and just talk crap about other people. And people do that, but that's not something I'm interested in doing anymore, because that kind of energy does not support the life I want to live. So this can get in the way. This can create a lot of fear and resistance, because sometimes there'll be people in your life that, will kind of float away. As you begin to transform and change and your energy changes, you're no longer an energetic match. And this may make that person say some bad things to you, because often as you're changing and growing, what happens is inadvertently your changes in your light shows them their shadow. So what'll happen, and what I've seen happen very often is, as someone changes and they stop putting into the group of people they used to be around, the energy, the heavy energy that they may be trapped in, they start looking at that person as an outsider, someone who's not good, or you think you're better than me kind of thing. A bunch of judgment starts to happen, and that kind of thing can be very difficult and very painful as we begin to transform. That's just part of how transformation works. And again, this moves you back into the other things: acceptance, surrender to the present moment, understanding everything that's happening is taking you where you need to go. You may even experience physical sensations. Emotional releases are very common because that's kind of part of the deal. Is as you're transforming, you're releasing old patterns. You're releasing old energetic patterns that no longer serve you. They're no longer serving who you want to be. Remember, going back to transformation, who is it that I want to be? And as you're looking at that person and seeing that person and experiencing that person, you're asking for that energy to align with you. And as it begins to align with you, whatever doesn't align with it's going to start to fall away. Old patterns start to fall away. And, I myself, normally I have lots of physical sensations. If you're very spiritualistic and mystic and can connect to the energy field and the spirits around you, you're going to see and experience all kinds of things. Everybody's a little bit different. Emotional releases are very common. That's usually some really powerful crying. I get into some powerful crying a few times a week, because no matter who you are or how high you fly, you're going to have some unresolved emotional data that builds up. You're going to have some heavy energy that builds up. And it's not that that's wrong. That's meant to build up. And how you release that is through your practice, through your breath, through that cycling of energy I talked about. All this stuff works together. It's a unit. I'm just breaking it down into smaller pieces. So most of these things I'm talking about, the signs, your signs usually show up in ways that are showing you that you're shedding the old to welcome the new. Okay, so that's really important. So we're going to move into the next part, and that's daily practice for enhancing transformation. All right. And where that can start is in the morning, setting intentions. Set that intention. We were talking about intentions in the beginning. Goals are wonderful, but if to add to that, setting your intention, are you taking time to set your intent? What do you want to happen? So it's quite easy. You can use this as an affirmation as well. I open myself to growth and transformation. I'm open. That's important. Like I teach everybody that are my spiritual students and my shamanic students, as you begin to work with spirit, one of the first things you teach yourself to do is to be open and ready to receive. I'm open to receive. I'm open to receive the energy that's around me, the life that is around me, right? That's really important. So setting an intention, I open myself to growth and transformation. Are you open to receive? Are you open for growth and transformation to happen? Some people say they are, and they aren't doing what is necessary for that to happen, because often change is scary. Throughout the day, when challenges arise, remind yourself, this too is part of my growth. This kind of aligns with this too shall pass. You're going to have things happen. You're going to have challenges arise. And if they're really heavy to you at that time, what you need and works best is this too is part of my growth. Understanding this challenge is going to take me somewhere. And when that happens, this begins to transform your mind into it's a gift. And you can help yourself along by, again, using your breath. Going into the breath I showed you earlier. 4 in, 4 hold, 6 out. Shh. Very good. So those are all the major points that I wanted to work on today before I move into the closing and engagement. If anybody has any questions, comments, I would love to see those. I see that we have lots of comments from Salad. Hi, Salad. Where are you watching from? Good day, all. I just got here. More power in surrender than meets the eye. I agree. Yes, the only thing constant is change. Yeah, another way in my teachings, the way I teach it is the only thing that never changes is that everything changes. It's the one of those universal conundrums. There's a difference between not caring and not minding. That's absolutely true. A lot of people get confused there, and this has to do, most people who can't see that difference are people that don't have an intuitive sense built within them yet, and they may not be able to understand that there's a difference. Because when you tell someone, what if you let go of the fear surrounding this? What do you mean, I'm not supposed to care? No, that's not what I said. I said, what if you release the fear, the energy? That's the feeling. Can you release the feeling that's surrounding this? Oh, that doesn't mean you don't have care. That means you're not minding, because minding creates reaction. Caring is just something you experience, and we all can experience. Allow the transformation, but don't allow the transformation. I'm not sure what that means. I'm really big into trance work, and I recommend it. Through breath, through death. How poetic. And ultimately shedding the body. What body? I'm not sure what you're talking about, but it might not be aligned up with what I was talking about. Let's see. Change is change. Agreed. This too shall pass. Yep, this too shall pass. It sure will. Yeah. All right. Does anybody have any questions? What are your questions about what we've covered so far? So we covered a whole bunch of stuff. So let me go back to some of the things we covered. We covered what is the growth mindset, right? We talked about that. We talked about techniques to release fear, breathwork, visualization, and affirmations. And then we talked about the power of surrender. Transformation requires surrender, letting go of what we think we need to be instead of allowing yourself to be what you're meant to be. And then when we resist change, we create tension and suffering. And then we talked about signs that you're transforming and the resistance that might be met there. So if anybody has any questions about that stuff, I would love to hear about them. If not, I'm going to move into the final segment. Let's see. Changes change in the way that they change, too. That's true. Changes change in the way that they change, right? It unfolds precisely the way it's designed to. So the way that I teach it is the universal design is without flaw. That's one of the primary teachings that I bring into the people that I work with on a conscious level, is allowing yourself to understand that there's no reason, even if you can't actually understand that, it works even from a state of just, pure intelligence, just looking at it from a level of truth. It doesn't help you in any other way to look at things as if they should be some other way. Because whatever happens, happens. Right? We're always like, and it's so hard, like it should be some other way than it is. And that's the primary cause of human suffering, is non-acceptance of reality. And how do we move into that acceptance of reality? Is acceptance of the present moment, however it shows up. However it shows up is just right. And then that goes along with the universal design is without flaw, or a way I might say it to a religious person is, God doesn't make mistakes. We make assumptions. We make judgments through that dirty windshield of our past, our fallen ego mind, that creates expectations of what perfection should be, instead of understanding that everything's perfect already. You're perfect. You're perfectly designed in every way. How you react to this reality is your experience. That's it. There's a difference between perfection and experience. Your experience, you may experience thoughts and ideas that seem imperfect, but are they? Or are those just your judgments? So today we explored how to cultivate a growth-oriented mindset, embrace fear as a teacher. Your fear is your teacher. It's one of your greatest teachers. So triggers are great teachers. And step into the power of transformation. Remember, growth and changes are natural and necessary parts of your journey. If you found this live stream helpful, give it a like and share it with someone who might benefit from this message. Let's spread this light together. Also, if you can make a donation, please do. I've gotten some really wonderful donations over the last few days, so I want to thank all of you that make donations and help support what we're doing and help support me in my time of healing. And as we continue on this journey, this is really powerful information. Like I said, people pay thousands of dollars. I've been paid lots of money to teach people these things. And I'm just deciding now I'm just going to come out and I'm going to give it to the world, right? This is all stuff that I've accumulated in my teachings over time. And I rather just give it away. I rather develop this beautiful gift and give it away because I know that that is how Aini works, or divine reciprocity, if I just give it to you, right? I spent the last few years trying to figure out how to take these kinds of teachings and turn them into a business and where I could make money and all these things. And I don't know, it just really wasn't for me, and it felt like it just wasn't working out that well. And I didn't want to be like every other cookie cutter teacher, just blowing smoke. I want to be here to give you actual tools that can help you to change your life. Now, this may make me, this may make me unpopular with other teachers who don't want this information to be given to you. So be it. That's okay. I'm strong enough to be the villain in anyone's story. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences, or, maybe you could talk a little bit here about any fears you've overcome, or how do you embrace growth in your life? So drop a comment below. Let's connect. We're in a moving connection mode. And I want to send out the invitation for future live streams. Make sure to follow me here and on my other platforms to stay tuned for more discussions on spiritual growth, mindset, and holistic healing. Together, we'll continue to grow and expand. Our next live stream is going to be Monday, our next podcast. And that one is actually going to be about the medicinal qualities of Mother Sister Cannabis. So cannabis is a sacred medicine. We're going to touch on the spiritual connection with Mother Cannabis and safe and intentional use of cannabis for healing and creativity. Few people know much about that. It's become legal here in Ohio, and most people are just doing drugs. They're just getting stoned. That's fine, but there's a better way in which you can use this medicine and understand that cannabis is a spirit. Everything is a spirit. You have spirits that live together, work together to make your body, the spirit of your heart, the spirit of your liver, the spirit of your lungs. And you can create relationships with all those spirits. It's something I've learned recently since my time in the hospital. My teacher came to visit me while I was there, and he brought it to my attention that I can cultivate a deeper connection, a deeper relationship with the spirits of my body. But you can also cultivate relationships with the spirits of all forms of medicine, of anything, of a candle, of inanimate objects. These are things that are all actually alive and made out of the same atomic structure as you are. So I want to thank you all so much. Together, we'll continue to grow and expand. This is only my third episode. I'm just going to keep doing them as long as I can. I may need to switch dates or times or whatever as I continue. That's fine. But I'm continue to put this information out. They're going to be recorded. They're going to be labeled like we have here, episode 3, Mindset, Spiritual Growth. That way, this begins to create a library of divine intelligence for people to begin to tap into. So before we move into the end here, I'm going to have you do a final affirmation with me. Okay, so I want you to take in a deep breath. Release it slow. Very good. We're going to affirm together. I am growing. Repeat that. I am growing. I am evolving. I am becoming the highest version of myself. And let's go through that again. I am growing, I am evolving, and I am becoming the highest version of myself. Wonderful. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. And I want to send out love and blessings to everyone. I want to send healing to you. I want to send love. I want to send light, blessings. I want to send out Sami. In our tradition, that's refined light energy. And I'm grateful to be here just to share this with you. I want to thank you all so much for joining in episode 3. The floor is now open for conversation, comment. If anybody wants to jump in and want to share anything, I would love to hear from you. Let's see. I appreciate you too. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. It's beautiful to see you on. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you got to come in and catch some of this. Love, 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 love. That seems to be a pretty good formula so far for my personal growth. Isn't it? It is. Like how I like to teach it is, love is the answer to, most questions of my heart. And that seems to work out. I mean, yeah, love is the answer for most of those questions. Most of the questions of my heart are answered through love. Thank you, Salad. Hearts and salutations to you. I share in my groups as well. Well, thanks for sharing. Sharing's really important because this is great information, and the more people we can reach and the more people we can touch, the greater our collective work goes. So it's wonderful. One foot in front of the other, I'm becoming my highest self. Thank you for all your love and wisdom you share. Love definitely is the answer. A Nike Kuyaiki. Thank you. I love you. Urpichai Sonkolai. A dove from my heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm just going to leave the floor open for a couple minutes. I'm going to play the snazzy music on the way out. Every time I do the intro and outro music, I can't help it. My shoulders start moving. Boom, 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 boom. Feels really good. Mary helped me to design that, so I picked the music. She created the video. She always does a really good job for me, helping me out with those things. I plan on doing some future stuff here. I want to do some classes where I do some teaching for people who are on the path and want to expand their shamanic practice and their knowledge. I do have a family of shamans in which I've been working with for a couple years. They're kind of like my soul family, kind of like my my group. We're called the Wilka Inti. Ayu, which means essentially the Sacred Sun Medicine Society. So I welcome people to reach out to me if you'd like to do one-on-one sessions. Those are available. You can find those through my my link tree. You can go into there. There's also access to free videos. Check out YouTube. That's always a good idea. I have these new videos coming up. I have kind of a new video that's been out for a little bit now, ocean breathing. I have some more I'm working on. It's just about time and stuff. I'm not very good at video editing, so it's something I need to continue to try to learn and expand into my life. Unless anybody is good at video editing and would like to help me, I open the floor for anyone that would like to help me. Thank you. Nathaniel says, Mary did a good job. Great music too, thanks. I sat there and went through a bunch of different music before that one just really stuck out to me. It just felt like the vibe I wanted to bring into this show. Because I think this might be my 4th or 5th platform for podcast. Maybe 6th. I'm not sure. So I've had a lot of different kinds of platforms. This one's going to be just me coming on and talking about some things that can help us. I'm looking forward to next week because I am a cannabis shaman. I have a really deep connection with the living energy and spirit of Mother Sister Cannabis, and I really love to share that with people. And now that I live in a state where cannabis use is legal, I think it's really important to get the information out there, to get that wisdom out there to help people really make connections to this medicine, which could be life-changing for them. Because it was very life-changing for me because when I began to use it, I already had a really deep awareness of her being a medicine, of her being like a plant ally. I already had a deep awareness, although I wasn't a shaman yet. That part of me didn't grow yet. Well, I guess I've always been a shaman. I just didn't know I was a shaman yet. But that deep connection really began to expand my consciousness way back when I really started to bring connection with her. Because before that, I spent most of my life being an alcoholic, hiding from my power, my energy, my feeling. Being deeply intuitive, for a lot of people, they'll call it the gift and the curse. I don't call it a curse. It's not a curse at all. It's always been a gift. And I'm just grateful to have it. Hi, Angelica. Yeah, you're late. I'm just about to wrap up. It's been an hour and 1 minute. Today was a live stream. We talked about spiritual growth, cultivating a positive, growth oriented mindset, and overcoming fear to embrace transformation. So, this was a really good podcast. I'm glad I got to come on and share this wisdom with the world. Um, it's great, and I hope that you learned something from it. And you can always reach out with any questions, comments, concerns. And I want to thank you all so much for being here. All right, I'm going to close up space. If you'd like to join me, spread your arms out big and wide. And for a second, I imagine I'm a giant golden eagle or a giant hawk. And my wings are wide, and I can feel the wind in my wings, the wisdom of life in my wings. And I gather all that energy overhead as I take in a deep breath. And I bring it into a ball of energy over my head. I have a golden ball of light. And as I exhale, I bring it in through the top of my head. Run it down through my body, letting all of that energy saturate down into my fingertips and my toes. And I thank you all so much for being here today. I look forward to hearing from you all. I'll be back on Monday with episode 4. I love you all so much. Time for me to go. See you later.